I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. One of the great things about this chamber is that we are involved in so many different events, activities, etc. And so one of the great events that's coming up is something that you're going to be interested if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an executive, if you are an influencer, you want to be present. And you want to make sure that you make time to join us at a huge event that's taking place this September. And to talk about it is the CEO who's joining us here with the letter Y, Texas, Ed Curtis, their CEO. Ed, thanks for joining us.
Dr. Laura, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the name. What is Y, Texas?
It's what you think, when we came up with the term, it actually is used in a number of different ways, right? Why are you living in Texas? Why did you move to Texas? Why do you love Texas so much? It's a universal word and it gets people thinking. And as Texas is now becoming the capital of the United States with all sorts of business opportunities, it just gets people collaborating and talking about why they're here.
Absolutely. And speaking of collaborating, I know you have a lot of groups involved, including the Greater Houston Partnership, other groups. Tell us the people that you will be drawing and collaborating with.
Well, I think what makes our event unique is we're inviting a wide range of people to the event. The idea is to build community around all of the opportunities in Texas. Whether it's a startup company, whether it's a mayor, whether it's an economic development director, whether it's a CEO of a chamber like yourself, Dr. Laura, even CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. We never all get in the room together as equals, right? We're either listening to a panel from an executive or we're listening to a mayor talk about his or her initiatives. This is a way to put everyone on the same playing field and just talk about business and opportunities and build relationships.
So you're very passionate about this. We've had other conversations. What has been a driver for you to pull this together, and most recently in Dallas?
I moved to Texas in 1993, a long time ago. I came from the East Coast, from New York. Like a lot of people, I didn't have plans to stay here. My plan was to come, go to school, get some experience, and then go back to Wall Street in New York. And that obviously never happened. But what I realized as soon as I got here, and I'm talking like within the first month, that it was a special place. It was, I joke around, people made fun about my accent back then, but the second question was, what do you do and how can I help you? So I really felt that the uniqueness and the true miracle of Texas is in its people and people wanting to solve problems and innovate. Yes. So as I've grown older and grown my career, I really thought I could use this as an opportunity to have other people tell that Texas story so that if people are looking to move here or invest here, they understand it a little more. And for those that are already here that maybe haven't had a chance to visit Houston or Midland, they have an opportunity to learn more about that, meet those people. So I'm just passionate about the state and its welcoming environment.
Absolutely is. So you've been doing this for a while now. What is anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? Can they attend? Can they become sponsors, purchase tickets? Where do they go for more information?
Yeah, so first of all, we want this to be an annual event that goes on forever. And the host cities might change over the years, but we're committed to Houston for a few years and we're excited about it. Again, think of it as a combination of a conference, maybe even like an economic forum, and even a festival like South by Southwest or any others, where you'll experience showcases on the field at the stadium. You'll see videos on the Jumbotron. You'll be able to visit people at exhibit booths and learn about their different parts of Texas, meet with leaders. And we're so thankful that you're going to help be a keynote speaker at our event. Hear from people telling the story about why it's important that we are continuing to grow our state, welcome new people into it, and work collectively with everyone that's here. It's open to any business person that wants to attend. You could buy tickets online, or if you wanted to showcase and share your story, we'd love to talk to you about that too.
great. And again, save the date, Wednesday, September 24th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's at our very own Denkin Park. We're still getting used to the new name. You guys may remember it as Minute Maid Park. Go online, get more information. Ed, our thanks to you and your team for bringing this to Houston, Texas. We are so excited to be part of it. We'll see you very soon. Thank you. The Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is the leading advocate for the Hispanic business community. In Houston, we represent over $54 billion per year in consumer spending. Our thanks to our board and staff for making sure we elevate business and advocate for a stronger economy. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us on our program today. It's with great pleasure that I introduce one of our newest board members who's doing a phenomenal job leading as Regional Senior Vice President of Comcast, and his name is Jose Espinel. Thank you so much, Jose, to you and your team. You've been great to the city. You've been great to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you for those kind words. My pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, we love the work that you all do, and it's so important because we can't do anything without making sure that we've got connectivity, and the world and technology ever changing. I'm not sure how you guys keep up with it, but you do. So let's start there, right? What are some of the changes? How is it impacting your customers? And what are you guys doing to stay ahead of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the main thing is how much we rely today on the internet, right? You were mentioning that, and that dependence is growing by the minute. And if you think about it, it all started during the pandemic when everybody had to work remotely and study remotely. And as we're doing here today, we got really good at this, right? We got really good at virtual communications. But even beyond that, you think about how connected we are. And I wanted to ask you a question, Dr. Murillo. How many connected devices do you have at home?
I didn't realize it, but in a previous conversation I had with someone, it appears I have about 20.
20, well, that's not far from the average. I think our average customer has about 36 connected devices, and that number continues to increase because we have more and more smart devices. Now we even have toasters that are connected to the internet. And again, it's not only the increase in that remote communication that we're seeing, the proliferation of connected devices, but also the type of content that is going through the network. It's evolving. So today, 70% of the traffic that we see in our Xfinity network is actually entertainment. If you think about all the live sports that are moving into streaming platforms, more applications, more use cases, we're seeing a dramatic increase in traffic. And year after year, that traffic is growing by double digits. And if you think about, especially here in the Houston area, when you think about the Rockets, the Astros, the Texans, and the World Cup that is coming next year, we know our customers are not going to want to miss any moment of all that live streaming action. And again, this is why it's important to have a network, a provider that can sustain all of that traffic. And we're very proud in Comcast to the fact that over the last decade we've spent about $80 billion in making sure that our network can sustain and anticipate all of those trends.
Yes, and not only that, but also, I'm sure, a great investment in being prepared for some of the natural disasters that our city and our country face that are out of your hands. So what are some of the proactive things that you all have done in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we talk about network, and we know that there's a lot of providers out there, right? There's a lot of competition, which is a great thing to our customers. But in my opinion, the most important thing is the overall experience that you provide our customers. So to that end, there's three particular things that I wanted to talk about. Is convergence, reliability, and security. So from a convergence point of view, and again, specifically talking about convergence between internet and mobile, some people don't know this, but actually 90% of the traffic that goes in our network between a mobile and our network is through a Wi-Fi connection. So again, with our company, people can enjoy not only at home great state-of-the-art gateways that we have for them, but also we have a network of 23 million hotspots that are out there for the public to use, for our customers to use. And the best part is that we've equipped those Wi-Fi hotspots with a technology that we call Power Boost that allows them to connect to a device with speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. So what that means is that Whether you're sitting at home trying to stream your favorite movie or your favorite coffee shop, you can have the fastest and best reliable technology in Wi-Fi. Reliability is the other one, right? Because we know that nowadays for customers, having high reliability is at the top of the list. So I'll point out a couple of things. First, we're all the time monitoring the devices that we have in our network. We collect about 4,000 data points across in millions of devices every 20 minutes. And what that allows us to do is prioritize the bandwidth that we have for each connection so people can have the best experience. And I'll probably close on the security side, because not only you want a provider that, again, has convergence, have reliability, but cybersecurity is a big threat that we face. And how do we solve that at Comcast? We have teams of thousands of people that are experts in cybersecurity. They're monitoring our network all the time. And in the last 5 years, we've been able to block about 10 billion cyber attacks to devices that are connected to our network. That's billions with a B. And
Wow.
that's because we build security into our network. And that's basically in essence what we provide our customers. That's what it means to have the best experience, is that conversions, the reliability, and the security.
Wow. Well, I can see why you're so busy and your team is always out there communicating. And we are so thankful for that and so much more. And to have you on our board as a valued advisor has been very impactful and significant. And so I want to take just a few seconds for you to share with those folks who might be considering becoming corporate sponsors, your experience through your corporation and what value added the Chamber has brought.
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, I need to thank you, Dr. Murillo, because the work that you and the Chamber do for our community, it's outstanding. It's not only our Hispanic businesses that, by the way, all of the small businesses that we serve in the Chamber, those are going to become the large businesses in our community. So the impact that your organization have, and you're in particular as a great leader for our community, is outstanding. So for me, I mean, as a board member and as a representative of our company that truly believes in the importance of this segment, the connection with the Chamber is extremely important for us. We want to continue creating upward mobility for our communities, and in that way, we celebrate the mission that you follow in the Chamber.
Well, we thank you for that and for the outstanding individuals that are involved here at the Chamber with us and with you. We thank you again for everything, and we appreciate you, Jose. Thanks so much. The Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is the leading advocate for the Hispanic business community. In Houston, we represent over $54 billion per year in consumer spending. Our thanks to our board and staff for making sure we elevate business and advocate for a stronger economy. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. As you know, for decades, this chamber and many organizations across the country have been advocating for comprehensive immigration reform. Now more than ever, it's important to continue to have this dialogue. And so we're happy to have Jeremy Robbins, the Executive Director of the American Immigration Council, join us. They've done a lot of work. They've gathered a lot of data, and they want to share that information with us. Jeremy, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Murillo.
Absolutely. So first of all, tell us a little bit about the American Immigration Council and what you're doing here in Texas.
Absolutely. So the American Immigration Council was founded nearly 40 years ago to shape a more fair and just immigration system through legal advocacy, research, partnerships, and coalitions. And Texas is ground zero for all the reasons you'd expect. What happens in Texas spreads to the rest of the country, and Texas really tells the immigration story in all of its facets. And so you think about a state where 17.8% of the population is born in another country, or a place like Houston where 24% of the people in the city are immigrants, and people are coming to work. And that story we want to tell with data, and we partner with groups like yours and businesses across the state to do it.
So let's focus on that, the workforce piece, the economic driver that is clearly evident. Tell us a little bit about your research regarding workforce and the economic impact.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about immigration in the national discourse as if it's all about security and threats, or it's all about families. And both of the security is super important. Families are important, but it's also about the economy. And you see that nowhere else more than in Texas and Houston. As I said, immigrants are 24% of the population of Houston, but they're 30% of the workforce. People are coming here to work. They are way more likely to be working age. They're also way more likely than the native born to start a company because people are here, they're taking risks, and you see that throughout the economy, and you specifically see it in the industries that are absolutely core to making Texas function, whether it's agriculture, whether it's construction, whether it's hospitality, or whether it's healthcare.
Yes. And on that note, we understand that in order for Texas to do well, such a big part is played by business, by employers, by entrepreneurs, and that if they are going to be creating these companies and these businesses, they need an active workforce. And there's this assumption somehow that these immigrants are taking jobs that other people would want. What does your research say? What does your data say?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about one of the greatest things happening in Texas right now is that when people are voting with their feet, they're moving there. Texas isn't static, it's growing. And if you can build, you can create more jobs, you can grow your economy. And when you think about the constraints on that, a huge one is if you want to have an agriculture industry, you don't just need managers, but you need people who are picking crops. You need people who are transporting things. You need people who are cleaning. You need people who are doing all of these jobs. And there are a lot of Americans who do those jobs, but not enough. And if you can bring in a diverse and talented workforce, you're going to make your community more resilient. You're going to make it more vibrant, and you're seeing that. We started and we support something called Texans for Economic Growth, which is now a coalition of more than 160 Texas business leaders, including the Houston Hispanic Chamber, very thankfully, and groups in Houston like Amergy Bank and the Greater Houston Partnership and Merrick, who are telling their story across all industries of how there simply wouldn't be a construction industry in Texas without immigrants, or an agriculture industry in Texas without immigrants.
And we need to continue to share that story so that we can remain a vibrant city that has a strong workforce and that we can also protect our borders. And so both can be true. We thank you for your advocacy. We look forward to getting more data from you because we're going to be sharing a lot of that data at our upcoming Leadership Conference and Business Expo. If you're interested, please visit our website. We have a lot of information about our upcoming Leadership Conference, our data conference, and so much more. We thank you for all the work that you are doing. We appreciate your research, and it is data-driven. Facts are facts, and that's what we'd like to share with people who are involved with us. So thank you for your leadership. And before we close, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, look, I mean, Dr. Murillo, you've been such a tremendous leader, and I think when I think about the audience, this is a tough debate, and it's easy to think about, oh, what can I do? Well, the reality is you can do a lot. If you are a business leader, you can join groups like Texas for Economic Growth. You can write, if you're just a citizen who cares, you can write op-eds in your paper, and groups like ours can help. And so I just encourage people to use their voice and to follow your leadership. And I'm really grateful for all that you're doing for business leaders and for justice in Houston.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo. Thank you so much for joining us on Houston Legends. We're happy to provide you with some inspirational individuals who've contributed not only to Houston, but also across the globe. Hope you enjoy the show. We're happy to present our Houston legend, Julie Suddeth. She represents PNC and is leading the bank and doing extraordinary work here in our city. We're going to get to know a little bit more about her and some of the great things that are being done at PNC. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Laura. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for all you do. It's an extraordinary feat. And on top of all of that, a mom, a wife, 4 children. That is certainly commendable. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of detail and time management.
Certainly is. If anything, back to school is a reminder of that.
It absolutely is. And I know there are a lot of folks watching us and think, well, if I choose a career, it's career. If it's a family, it's a family. But you have managed to do both in an extraordinary way. What advice do you have for families in terms of trying to do both?
Gosh, well, It's something I can't imagine not doing. So I'd say do what's right for you. Leverage every resource, every member of your family, every neighbor, every friend. It does take a village, and I think that's a term we hear a lot. But I've been very fortunate to be able to have my mom in town, amazing friends, a great community around me, very supportive husband, and we all make it work. And it also helps to raise very independent children.
Absolutely, because everyone has a job and things that they need to take care of and do. And you're a Houstonian.
Yes.
And how fortunate for Houston to have you in the city where you have a true understanding. What advantage has that had for you as a woman leading such a large bank in a very competitive industry?
Well, when I think about Houston, I think about what a dynamic business environment it is. And certainly that has fed a lot of the success that PNC's had and that I've had throughout my career. This is a great place to do business, for starters. And then also Houston as a whole is a very open city. It's very welcoming of new ideas, innovative thinking. If you're willing to come here, roll up your sleeves, work hard, you're going to do well in Houston.
Yes.
And I think that's the type of environment that I've thrived in and that, I really value as a Houstonian. Many generations back, Houstonians, as you know, are very proud to be from Houston, but we're also proud of how welcoming we are to bringing new people to Houston and new businesses. And I think that's fed our city's success and by extension, the bank's success.
So growing up, did you think you wanted to go into banking?
Well, it wasn't always on my radar. I think I always wanted to do something in finance.
Okay.
And fortunately had a lot of good advice and insight and direction kind of from an early age that, hey, you should consider commercial banking. It's a path that is really, very dynamic. There's a lot of roles that you can play within a commercial bank. You can do the risk side. You can do the sales side. You can do what I did, which is build multiple divisions of regional banks. And to me, it's an industry that's always changing. But what I probably would have told you 25 years ago when I started is that it's an industry that you didn't see a lot of people who looked like me in it. So not a lot of women when I began my career, but that's changed considerably over 2 decades. I'm really glad I chose it. It's very fun to be leading PNC's effort here. It is a career path that I would encourage anybody who's interested in business and considering.
Yes. And also that connection to community.
Yes.
The work that you all are doing in early childhood development, which has been a very large focus. Tell us some of the things that you're really proud of in that space.
Well, as a mom who saw my kids thrive in preschool, I'm really proud to be making investments that are very strategic in the early childhood space. So PNC has an initiative called PNC Grow Up Great, and our foundation has been investing millions for 2 decades now in the early childhood, birth to 5 space. And so we know as parents that kids are just sponges at that age and their brains are developing at an accelerated pace and they need access to reading and early math and early literature. And Grow Up Great is kind of an endeavor that spans from the philanthropic side where we're investing alongside the Children's Museum in Para los Niños, so community outreach, bringing their resources and curriculum to kids outside of the museum. But then also things like Barbara Bush Houston Literacy Foundation, so bringing family place libraries to life. We have done 5 or 6 now across the city of Houston. So if you take your kids to one of these libraries and they're birth to 5, they're going to walk into this defined space with all these different, some things look like toys. They're actually educational materials and the kids love it. So we're just trying to bring that to life for families. We're also engaging our employees in the effort. And that is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
We built, I would say, several hundred radio flyer wagons and tricycles this year, and our employees contribute up to 40 hours a year each. And they're allowed to spend time outside of the office. supporting early childhood.
And very targeted and very impactful. We know the research indicates that is the age group where so much is
Yes.
processed in the brain, and we value the work that you're doing there. Also, of course, you can't help but notice the big investment and the big engagement you all have with the Houston Astros.
Yes.
Which has been fun, and the way you've reached out to the Hispanic Chamber or some of our business owners and the Chamber to promote the partnerships that you all have. And so that's got to be fun, exciting, and impactful.
It is. My friends kind of joked when that sign went up at the beginning of the season, like, Julie, you couldn't have gotten a bigger sign? So it's definitely very visible. We've been proud to be a partner of the Astros here during this season, and for the next several seasons. We're equally proud of the work that Astros Foundation does for our community, and we're trying to support that great work with the Astros Youth Academy. So part of our partnership isn't just branding and to get our name out, but it's also to reach young people.
Yes.
So through the Youth Academy, softball and baseball players coming in during the summer doing camps, and they also got exposure to our financial literacy education. So imagine
Yes.
these young people having the seeds planted. Hey, you can save for a small business or for your higher education or to one day own a home.
Right.
So I don't think it's ever too soon to start teaching
is
kids
not.
about being fiscally responsible.
It's very important, and it's certainly something that will have a lasting impact on those lives. And as we look at not only that, but the many other nonprofits, Discovery Green, and just all across the board, the great work you're doing. As we look at Houston and the presence you have here, tell us how it connects with your national footprint.
Well, PNC, if you don't know a lot about us, we have what we call a Main Street model. So it means in each market, they hire local people like me who know the market, know the city, know the communities, and want to make a difference.
Yes.
So we make decisions at the local level to invest in everything from early childhood to arts and culture to affordable housing to supporting small business owners. And all of these initiatives, we know benefit the community, and as the community thrives, so too does our business. So
Correct.
it makes a lot of sense. What I love about it too is that it allows employees to really kind of tap into their own passions. So I enjoyed serving on a number of nonprofit boards, and now we can come alongside them and be their partner and help accelerate their great work, kind of like we did with the Hispanic Chamber,
Correct.
getting the word out on your work, but also on the minority business owners that we featured in those spots, which is really fun.
And that is the beauty of PNC, is that local presence, and at the same time that large footprint across the country. What else do you want us to know about PNC?
Well, I would say, we've only been here 5 years in Houston, but our leadership team knows the city and really wants to make a difference here, and for business owners, for families, for individuals who want to bank with us. If you don't know much about us, what you should know is we care deeply about the community we serve. Our employees are fully engaged in the effort, and you're going to see a lot more from us. We're going to continue to grow here and continue to support the city of Houston and the Houston community. So I think I'm excited about the next 5 years of continuing to accelerate our growth and making a really positive impact.
Well, we're excited about it as well. And Julie, I know that you and I work together on the Women's 50/50. We
Yes.
are actively both making sure that more women are on corporate boards. It is so vitally important, and we were glad to see our very own University of Houston, Chancellor Couture, be added to your board of directors.
Yes.
And certainly so many of the women who are out there see you as an extraordinary example of someone who's contributed, has succeeded in a career and family. On that note, what would you like your legacy to be?
Laura, I don't think I've spent much time thinking about that since I still have so much time to build my career, but I would like people to know that I care deeply about supporting other women, but it's more than just women. It's about helping all of my colleagues and all of our clients achieve their goals. I feel like if I've done that and I've helped people progress on their financial journey and reach their individual and business goals, then I feel like I've made the difference that I'm looking to make.
Yes, it will be a job well done.
Well, let's hope so.
Well, it has been, and we're so appreciative of the opportunity to work with you, the entire PNC team, and we look forward to continued relationships. So thank you very much for all you do
and for all your team does.
Well, thank you. I'm
Appreciate
delighted to share a little bit of our story with you.
Thank you so much. Well, once again, we're happy to be with you today, and we're so appreciative of the opportunity to highlight Julie Suddeth of PNC as our Houston legend. Thank you.